Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Fed Flash Face-Off. Thank you for coming in and joining me. I'm Gary Ryan, Fed League Flash. We got a lot of stuff in the show. We have power rankings. We have a mailbag segment. We have news and notes, of course. We have game previews. We have a special Flash chat. Going to be talking about, just some speculation, what does next year in the Fed look like? We've got a look at the standings, a lot to unpack with the standings, so a lot of stuff to get to, so we're not gonna make it too long. Hopefully I can keep this under about an hour 15, but don't worry, you don't have to watch the whole thing. Always remember, if you want to go to one particular segment, just go right down here, just below the screen, you'll see where it says more. Click on more, and then that'll bring up your list of the different segments for the show. If you just want to go right to the mailbag segment, click that on the timestamp, and it'll go right there. If you can only watch a couple segments, that's okay. I appreciate you coming in and joining me and watching, and for your support. So whether you watch the whole thing or just a part, it's all good. All right, let's get going. Okay, so we're going to start off this edition of the Fed Flash Face-Off with power rankings, and we're going to kind of speed things up a little bit. I've already pre-populated a few of the spots. It's been 2 weeks. These 5 teams are in the same spot that they were in 2 weeks ago. I'm just going to touch on them real quick. Starting at the bottom, of course, we got Biloxi. They're giving up 5.8 goals per game. They've lost 13 in a row. There's not much else you can say about the team right now. It's been a struggle. Indiana, they've had some recent struggles as well. The offense has really had a hard time generating goals, generating good quality chances. They're getting a lot of shots on goal, but whether they're quality shots or not, that could be debated. They've lost their last 3. Their goals per game is down to 2.6. That's dropping. Their power play numbers are dropping. They need an offensive influx. Maybe Ryan Glazer coming back to the lineup will be it. Number 12, Baton Rouge. They did have a big win over Monroe, but the power play numbers, it's down to 11.9%. It's just really, really bad. Another team that just can't score enough goals. Now, we had a couple of instances where they got 6 goals here and 5 goals there, but it's been a struggle all year long. The good side of things is the team defense. The overall team defense is pretty good. Watertown, number 11. They're 22 points out right now with just 15 games remaining. 22 points out of a playoff spot. So they're running out of time. And their defense has not been good, not been healthy. 38 goals surrendered in their last 4 games over the last 2 weeks. So that's a lot of goals to give up. Danbury, number 10, they're holding steady. They're still 10 points out of a playoff spot, and that's not insurmountable for this stage of the year. But they still would like to be climbing a little bit more, I think. They've got an okay offense, an okay defense. Kyle Penton's been great, so maybe Penton will steal a couple more games for him down the line here. We'll see. All right, so let's continue on with 9 and up. Now, number 9, they're down a spot this week. They were number 8 last 2 weeks ago. Twin City Thunderbirds. They've fallen behind the PD Ice Cats, but it's only 4 points, so that's not too bad. That could be switched in one weekend. And the main problem for Twin City is they have 4 more weeks of 3 games in 3 days scenarios, including this upcoming weekend. That's tough. And they still need some more offense. It's hurt them that Zach White has been out for a while. Hopefully he will come back sooner rather than later to give their offense a boost. Switching places, number 8 this week, the PD Ice Cats. Was the other way around. Now we're flipped. PD has had a surge in the standings. They've won 7 of their last 10, and they've gotten a couple of additions to their roster, mainly Brendan Colgan for the goaltending. So you got Rutherford, Colgan, and then the team has to make a decision now whether they want to keep Matt Sales or Sean Kuhn. So sometime during the week, they'll be making a decision on that. But they have solidified themselves into that number 4 spot. Make sure this is okay. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure it's on. That's paranoid because I've hit record too many times with the microphone off. Okay, number 7, and they dropped down 1 spot. Actually, they dropped down 2 spots. The Topeka Scarecrows, they were winning here and there. They got themselves to a point where they tied Port Huron for the 2nd spot in the Empire. They had a prime opportunity against Port Huron, 3 games in 3 days, and they lost all 3, and very little offense, which really was surprising. I was expecting them to have a little bit more offensive success, but they're only scoring 3.3 goals per game. In order to go deep in the playoffs, that's not enough. You've got to open things up a little bit. Now, I know Robbie Nichols takes great pride in the team defense concept, as well as he should. Topeka's defense continues to be great, but if you're not scoring goals, it's not going to do you much good. And this is just my opinion. Sammy Bernard needs a breather. He's been playing like the last 7 games in a row and hasn't played poorly, but we've seen him play better. So he needs a break. He needs somebody to take a game or 2 off of him and get some rest, rejuvenate, and then go back out and do it again. All right, number 6, up 1 spot, finally out of the number 7 spot because they've been in the 7 spot forever. Now they're 6. It's the Blue Ridge Bobcats. Yep, they went up 1 spot. They've surged into 3rd place. In the Empire Division. Their offense has been phenomenal. This last week, Danny Martin, 9 points on the weekend. Crazy. You're getting production out of Jasso and Stuckless and let's see, who else is scoring? Mercurio, he's setting up plays. Daly's scoring. So, yeah, the offense is really turned up a notch, and that has gone a long way in propelling the Bobcats up in very rapidly. 8 wins in the last 10, and the other 2 games were overtime losses. So they have points in 10 straight games. They are currently the hottest team in the FPHL. All right, number 5, and this is where they were last time. Port Huron Prowlers. Pretty solid in 2nd place. They bang the body. They play team defense. They don't score a whole lot, but for them, there's been a good balance of offense and defense. Topeka, great defense, missing the offense. Port Huron, they're getting clutch goals. I think they could improve offensively, but it's working. They are very solid and firmly entrenched in that number 2 spot now in the Empire Division. Number 4, I'm hoping that we're not seeing another negative streak here. The Columbus River Dragons, they've been streaky all year. They're winning a whole bunch of games in a row, or they're losing games in a row. And they have dropped their last 2. Again, not playing poorly, but there's more potential that hasn't been realized or actualized yet, especially on the offensive end. You got a good, solid combination in goal with Roy and Babin. You got pretty solid defensive core. Just need to stay hot offensively. So yeah, they've dropped 2. We'll see if they can turn it around this upcoming week. Number 3, and this was a big drop. Yes, I know, but Monroe, they were number 1 last week. They dropped down 2 spots. They've lost 5 of 7. But again, it's kind of maddening because they're not playing poorly. There's nothing there. There's not really any one thing that you can put your finger on and say, this is why they've dropped a whole bunch of games. It's just maybe it's a schedule. Schedule's gotten a little tougher for them. But yeah, they've had some recent struggles. Still, obviously, one of the 3 best teams in the league. They're currently in first place in the Continental Division. They jumped back over Athens. Athens does have that game in hand, but yeah, we have Monroe there. Now is the time, though. If you're going to go on a losing streak, this is the time to get it out of the way. You still got 14, 15 games left the season, and okay, there's some things that haven't been going well. You study the film, you learn, and then you move on and you improve and you go hot into the playoffs. And I think Monroe can still do that. Number 2 is Athens, even though in the standings there is a 1-point difference between the 2 teams. But Athens, and they've had their struggles too. They've lost a couple games. Their problem is pretty easy to fix, though. With them, I can put a finger on, and it's just a lack of discipline. The sticks have been getting a little loose. The holds, the grabs, the clutches, the hack and whack. That's been getting a little out of control, and it has put them in the box more often than they'd like to be, and other teams are starting to capitalize on it now. So I think if they get that cleaned up, if they clean up their game a little bit, I don't think they have to make any major adjustments, but just some little things. I think they'll definitely be back on track once again. So that leaves number 1, and that is the Binghamton Black Bears. All 3 of these teams have had their recent struggles, but Binghamton seems to have gotten past their troubles and have kind of moved on. Their offense has been insane, even without some top guys in the lineup. They're really playing great overall. The defense has been pretty good. They've been missing some key personnel from time to time due to call-ups or suspensions or whatever you have. So, they took a step back for a while, but they've won their last 6 in a row. So there we go. Yeah, I think they're back on track. So there's our power rankings for today, for this week, last week in February. Okay, or second to last week. All right, let's move on, shall we? Because I'm getting tired.
You've got mail.
When you control the mail, you control information.
So we're doing a short mailbag segment. I have a couple people who sent me either messages or an email, and I'll tell you how you can get in touch with me in just a little bit. But we'll go through these really quick. All right. Nothing really major, but just wanted to helped you guys to be a part of the video. And so, and I don't want to single anybody out. So I'm just using initials for the messages and the emails that I get. All right. So AB asked, when is the trade deadline? Very important. Yeah, that is coming up. That is March 9th, Monday. Uh, According to the league bylaws, everything has to be done by 3 p.m. Eastern time. Now, there's a difference between the trade deadline in the NHL, which gets all sorts of media coverage and press and whatnot, and hype, a lot of hype. The Fed's a little different. Whereas in the NHL, basically, you see a lot of deals done that day, like March 9th, there's a flurry of activity. Not so with the Fed. Usually what happens is the time period from, well, even starting a couple weeks ago through to that day, there's a lot of activity that happens with trades, and we've seen them this week. As a matter of fact, we'll be talking a little bit about that in the news and notes segment in just a little while. But yeah, so what happens is you'll see trade here, trade there, maybe 3-4 trades per week. And then when you get to Monday, maybe you'll have 1 or 2 minor deals, but nothing major. Usually by the Friday before that, which would be March 6th, everything is pretty much wrapped up. But yes, after that point, the rosters are frozen as far as trades, unless, and this is the only exception, there was a trade made earlier in which they said, Joe Schmo is traded for future considerations, and they decide that to be a player to be named later. So then you'll see something like Jack Spratt was traded back to complete that earlier trade. But otherwise, no player movement really happens except for within the organizations internally. Okay, AM asked a basic question, and there are a lot of new fans watching, and that's awesome. So for those of you who are seasoned fans, bear with me. This is a good question, and I want to make sure that everyone understands and knows. So AM asked the question, what does IR mean? When you get to the transactions list, you'll see Joe Schmo put on IR. That means injured reserve. They got hurt during the course of a game, or even sometimes during practice in the middle of the week. And so there are 2 different lists for, well, actually there's 3 different lists for injured reserve. First, there is 15-day IR. Player goes on that list for 15 days and then is usually reactivated right after that. Each team can have 2 players on 15-day IR. There is also a 30-day IR, which is usually listed as IR rehab. That is for longer injuries or other situations that may arise. And so that player is out for a minimum of 30 days. In order to continue on that 30-day, another 30 days, special paperwork has to get filed with the league. And so 1 player per team can go on that status. And then there's what you don't want to see, player put on season-ending IR. Recently, that happened to Declan Conway of the Biloxi Breakers. He's done for the year. He's not going to be playing for the rest of the year, whether it's with Biloxi or with anybody else. All right, so IR, injured reserved. That's a very, very good question because, there's a lot of information for new fans to process. So, by all means, if you have a question, don't feel stupid for asking. Please ask. We'll answer that. All right, DB asked about expansion news, and we're going to be talking about that in the very next segment here with the Flash Chat. Well, we're not going to really get too much into expansion news, but DB did ask what expansion news are out there. Now, expansion news is often very speculative, based on rumors. So I want to be careful about this, all right? But some of the expansion news that we've talked about in the past was, as the season was in its very early stages, there was news about potentially for next season a third team being added to Louisiana, specifically Alexandria. Uh, there was also rumors about a team in Texas. Um, and then DB also asked, any other New England cities being considered besides New Jersey? All right. Uh, to answer those questions, okay, first of all, the third team in Louisiana, probably out for two reasons. One, the floor in the Alexandria Arena needs extensive repairs, and that costs a lot of money. The second reason is the prospective owner for this team was going to be Parker Muscal. I'm not going to get into things, but because of some questionable situations, Muscal is not a part of the league anymore. So this team is probably out. How about Texas? Same thing. This was going to be a Parker Muscal team. So that is out. New Jersey. Well, there is a game coming up on, I believe it's March 28th or March 27th, either the 27th or 28th, between Watertown and Danbury. And this is a game being played at the Menon Arena in Morristown, New Jersey. Will this lead to a team being placed in New Jersey? Possibly, but it is not carved in stone yet. This is kind of an experimental, let's wait and see what the result is, what the ticket sales are for this game, to see if we want to pursue this. Now, this venue has not been marketed or talked about much in Fed circles. So I'm not sure what ticket sales are going to look like for this game. We'll have to wait and see. So again, we'll have a little bit more about potential expansion in the flash chat segment. Okay, final question I got, and this was through email, and I'm sorry, I lost the email. I had written this down, and I forgot to write down the name. So if this was your question, I apologize for not acknowledging you with your initials, but and we'll just say anonymous person asked me, what is the average annual budget typically for an FPHL team? And what are the biggest expenses that a team has? Those are good questions. Now, it varies from team to team because some markets are bigger. There's different expenditures, different amounts for expenditures. Location plays a part in this. So the budget typically is around $1 million a year, give or take. And that means that about $1 million is spent by the team. That's why corporate sponsorships are so important, because $1 million typically is not generated through ticket sales. Although some teams might come close to that, a couple of teams might exceed that, but generally $1 million. The biggest expenses, travel costs, and a lot of that depends on your location. Topeka is going to spend a lot more in travel costs than, say, Port Huron. It's gonna be higher there. Salary, pay the players. Housing, team owners in the Fed cover the housing costs. There is team housing that everyone has, and in some locations it's better than in others, but that cost is covered. The players don't have to pay rent or anything like that. The other, speaking of rent, that is the other big expenditure. You've got to pay for the arena, for use of the arena. There's no team in the FPHL that owns the arena that they play in, so they got to pay rent. So travel, salary, housing, rent. Those are the 4 big expenditures for every team. So again, very good question, and I'm sorry I misplaced your name, but thank you for asking. How can you get in touch with the mailbag? Well, you can either send me a message through the Facebook Messenger. Go to the Fed League Flash page and click message and send me your question. Or you can email me, and that address is fedflash15@gmail.com. Again, fedflash15, the number 15, at gmail.com. Thank you for sending in your questions, and continue to do so. We'll continue to do this segment. All right, so as promised, here we go with...
What
did he say?
Let's look ahead, shall we? First of all, you're probably looking at this going, what's with the mess of magnets? This is all the teams in the FPHL or associated with the FPHL or thought to be associated with the FPHL. Okay, obviously you recognize the team magnets. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know, here we go. Now, I put the FPHL logo here for representing the potential of a New Jersey team. All right. We have the Rockers on there. Their plan is to come back for next season. We got the Northern Lights. Let's see. Anything else unusual? Well, you're probably going, what's with the question marks and the R's? We'll get to that. All right. So, just looking at this, I'll get to the right page. Okay. We have our 14 teams this year, which are all of these except for Minnesota. That's next year. Motor City. That's hopefully next year. And this with New Jersey. So, because there's 17 logos here on the board. So subtract those 3 and you get our current lineup. Now, the first possibility, this is obviously not to scale, but this is a rough idea of where teams are located. You have Watertown way up here, up in the north. You have the Zydeco and the Breakers down here in the south. Kind of a general idea. Obviously, couldn't make this to scale, but it's kind of geographically where teams are. Now, the hope was to potentially expand the league to 16 teams for next season. Now, that still could happen. There are some things in play, though, things that you have to factor in. And if we do have 16 teams, well, how does that work? First of all, we've seen that there seems to be a shift northward, where we had over the last 4 seasons the big southern expansion. So far to this point, we don't have any new southern teams coming in, but we definitely have one northern team. We're hoping maybe 2. We're hoping maybe 3. So that creates an imbalance. So the first thing that would happen if things continue on this track is that you'd probably end up moving the Blue Ridge Bobcats back down to the Continental Division. All right. Now, when I say there is 16 planned markets, well, the league is also continuing to explore options as well. What was it? On Monday, there was a report that came out from potentially an investor looking to bring hockey back to Huntington, West Virginia. Whether or not that would fit in the Fed model or not, geographically it fits, but economically, would it work? That has to be examined. And the league is constantly looking at new venues, talking to arena management, trying to set up agreements. So, and of course, that doesn't get any fanfare. Now, there was a lot more noise, shall we say, last season, for this current season than we are hearing this year. Unfortunately, a lot of doors that the FPHL knocks on, they say, thanks, we're not interested for whatever reason. The biggest reason usually is hockey is a very expensive sport, not just for the players and buying equipment and things like that, but for arenas to make the ice. If they don't have an ice plant you've got to install one. That's tens of thousands of dollars. That requires that. The maintenance of the ice is quite a bit. Run the Zambonis, that's a lot of money. So usually arenas that currently don't have hockey tend to say, no thanks, it's just not, it's just not financially feasible for us. So it gets to be a little tough sometimes. Could we end up with a late surprise, kind of like what we did with Indiana? Indiana wasn't announced until beginning of May, this past spring. Could that happen again? Oh, absolutely. We could have a last minute entry. Oh, by the way, Podunkville, USA, they want a team. We have an ownership group there. So on and so forth. And it could happen. But anyway, so currently we have those 14 teams. Now, why do I have the R's and the question marks? The possibility, or should I say the odds, of all 14 teams returning next year, not very good. There's change every year. It happens. It's part of minor league sports. There's some markets that are just kind of a flash in the pan. It just doesn't work out for whatever reason. So you do have some franchises that have been around a long time, like the Prowlers and the Wolves, but other teams, they haven't been around that long. Even Columbus, this is their 7th season. Okay, it's not that long. Consider again that the league is only 16 years old as a league entity. All right, so the question marks. We're not sure what's going to happen. Biloxi, will there be hockey next year? It's tough. Now, a new arena executive was just named for the Mississippi Coast Coliseum, Sam Voisin. We'll see if he is interested in keeping hockey there. The previous leadership for the Coliseum basically put a stipulation on Biloxi at the beginning of the year, before the year even began. We expect to see 3,000 fans as an average for this year. And then, if we see that, we'll consider renegotiating the lease. If not, well, maybe this isn't going to work out. But now we do have a new executive coming on board, so maybe that changes. But obviously, Biloxi's attendance is nowhere near 3,000 a game. There have been rumors about Motor City. We were supposed to get an announcement back in November regarding the status of the team. Had they secured an arena to play in for this next year? I'm getting mixed reports. Some reports say that Yeah, they had a deal in place with one arena and it fell through. Another report says they have an arena, but there's an issue with the structure and there may be the need for a large scale renovation. I've reached out numerous times to Ken Andrews and have not heard back from him. So he is the owner of the Rockers organization. So we don't know. We don't know if they're going to be back this next year. The plan was for them to come back, but that might not happen. There are also questions, rumors in places like Baton Rouge. The team has been trying to negotiate a new lease, which expires at the end of this year, with the Raising Cane's River Center, and there has not been a whole lot of progress. There's been some, and these negotiations have been going on for months now. So that, you'd like to be a little bit more hopeful. You'd like to see negotiations progressing fairly rapidly and moving along, where it's like, yeah, we're getting to an agreement. I haven't seen that yet. Watertown, there's rumors of a substantial financial loss of the team. Will they continue? Obviously, it's one of the toughest markets to maintain because the arena is small. It's a small community. It's tough. Economics are different in Watertown than they are in, say, Columbus. Okay, and that's just the sad reality of things. Where else do we have rumors? I guess that was it. The other question mark is New Jersey. Now, there's the planned game, showcase game. It's going to be taking place in late March between Danbury and Watertown to be played at Menon Arena in Morristown, New Jersey. The idea and hope is that there will be a great response to this game, and based on ticket sales, there may be a decision to say, yeah, we'll set up a franchise there, which the Northeast needs another team. They desperately need another team. So there's a question mark there. So it's really hard to say what the league is going to look like. Ideally, plan A is to have 16 teams, but that might not be feasible because you've got stuff going on in other places. Like I said, Biloxi, it's questionable. It's questionable potentially about Motor City. We don't know what's going to happen with the Zydeco. We hope that a lease gets renewed, but what if it doesn't? What about Watertown and their financial situation? We don't know. These are all invariables that we can't measure or even guess on at this point. So, just looking at things to close this out, is it time for the league to consider a change instead of north-south? If there are going to be more teams in the north, would it be better to do an east-west type of thing? Maybe that could work. One question that I haven't seen anybody ask, but I've asked it. You kind of have regional pods, like here. Let's say New Jersey comes in. You got 4 here. You got 5 here if Motor City comes in. You got 5 down here. Could there be possibility of changing from 2 divisions to 3 divisions? Possible. I think the league would like to try and stick with the 2 division alignment, but you never know. It's all going to depend on what markets do come in, which markets don't come in, how things develop, and we're not really going to know that until May. That's really, I think, when we'll have a really good picture of, okay, this is what the league is going to look like in 2026 to 27. So there we go. The goal is 16. Worst case option, I think, is you see some teams not able to come in, and you see a redaction down to 12. Likely, I think the most likely scenario at this point in time is we're going to have a 14-team league again next year, but it's probably not going to be the exact same 14 teams as what we have right now. But again, that is speculation. There's not a whole lot of fact to hang your hat on right now because, again, things aren't decided. The league's still looking at new markets. Are they looking at Huntington, West Virginia? Maybe. We don't know. I believe they have examined the possibility in the past, but I could be wrong on that. There's a lot of rumors that come across my way that I've got to sort through and look at and try and determine if there's something there, if there's something for the rumor to be built on, or is it just people just making stuff up? Well, it could be either possibility. So time is what we need to really clear up the picture. We really won't know. And there you go. So basically, I've spent 15 minutes saying we don't know. But it's fun to speculate, but it's also important to remember that it's just speculation. You have to remember this is not necessarily based on this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. It's just too early to tell for sure in several markets. Okay, so that concludes our flash chat. Let's go on to what I think a lot of you have been waiting to see. Well, maybe not. Let's move on to previews, and then we'll hit the news. So here's our matchups this week. We'll take a quick look at these. The big matchup has got to be the PD Ice Cats and the Blue Ridge Bobcats. Both of these teams really, really on the rise right now. They're both in playoff spots. They're both moving up. They've both been winning more than losing as of late. It's all good stuff, and it's 3-3. So this is going to be really huge for both clubs. All right, so the PD Ice Cats have won all 4 previous meetings, but the last time that these two teams played was November 26th. Both teams were, especially the Bobcats, but both teams, they really were a lot different back then, just with personnel and how they were playing. So you can kind of take this into account and you can kind of throw it out the window. But anyway, this is going to be really, really big. Both teams, the offense is greatly improved as of late. PD is up to 3.6 goals scored per game now. Blue Ridge is up to 4. And the big number for the Bobcats, as far as where offensive production has really increased, has been the power play. It's up to 24%, which is 3rd best in the league right now. And of course, a big reason for the Bobcats' success as of late was when they received Dustin Giseau, previously from PD Ice Cats. That is really, he's become kind of the centerpiece of the offense, but everyone else has been stepping up as well. And now Brandon Reller is back. Yep, Thor is back. And it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of impact he has on the game. Now, for the PD Ice Cats, last I heard, Dominik Marcinkiewicz is day-to-day, but his brother Patrick's is doing pretty good, and so are many other players as well. Alexander Lakov, of course, he started the year in Danbury, and now has moved to PD, and he brings so much more speed and just really opens up the ice. So I think he's going to be a big player in this matchup this weekend. So Friday night, 7:30, Saturday night, 7:30, and Sunday afternoon at 4:05. All right, taking a quick look at some of the other matchups. The Wolves take on the Twin City Thunderbirds. It's the first time these two teams have met. They're playing, of course, in Carolina, 7:05 on Friday and 6:05 on Saturday. Now, the Wolves, you've obviously seen some of the moves that they've made, some of the trades that they've made. Could you call them sellers? Yeah, I guess. I guess you could. So yeah, Stephen Klink no longer a fixture for Watertown, and that means that Egor Filipov is now the guy. They do have Efim Mishkin as well. Darian Benchich has kind of upped his game as of late, but yeah, the offense has always kind of struggled just because there's not a whole lot of depth on the team. The other problem with the Wolves is the amount of goals that they've surrendered. 206 goals allowed this year. That is the second most in the league. Twin City doesn't score a whole lot, so maybe that'll offset. I don't know. Twin City has been without Zach White for a while, and they could really use him back to give a little more depth to their offense. But I think the key player for the Thunderbirds is going to be Boris Babic. Last couple of outings he's had has been a little bit on the rough side. I don't put all the blame on him for that. I'm just saying that things haven't been really good defensively for the Thunderbirds recently. And so Babic, if he's able to up his game to the point where he was playing like he was 3-4 weeks ago, that could go a long way in helping the Thunderbirds' cause. Both of these teams on the outside looking in for the playoffs, Thunderbirds, I think they still have a realistic chance at possibly getting into the playoffs. Wolves, they're running out of time. They only have 15 games left, and they're in essence 7 wins out of a playoff spot right now. So we'll see how this goes. So Twin City, they finished this and they moved down to Athens. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The Wolves will be done after the 2 games this weekend. They'll be done for the weekend. But anyway, we have that. Then we also have the Prowlers and Indiana, which has turned into quite the rivalry, despite the difference in on-ice performance. You have a second-place team and a seventh-place team, but these two teams, they don't like each other. And part of that is because of the 2 names that I have down in the bottom, but we'll hold off on that for just a minute. This is another 3-3. Friday night and Saturday night at 7:30. Sunday, the game is at 12:30 in the afternoon. This is kind of an Indiana special, so make sure to take note of that. Early game Sunday afternoon. Head-to-head, well, Prowlers won 6-9. Indiana has pulled off 3 victories against the Prowlers. As of late, though, things have been a little tough. In the last 3 meetings between these 2 teams, Indiana has only scored a total of 5 goals. So their offense needs a big influx of talent. Here's the big numbers, and yeah, this is a big number. 1,150 penalty minutes by the Prowlers. That leads the league. Indiana, their offense, again, they've been struggling, and it's been going down. 2.6 goals scored per game. Really, you need to be averaging about 3.5 to be truly competitive in the FPHL. So yeah, we have, speaking of people not liking each other, we have Reggie Millette, we have Ryan Glazer. We know the backstory, at least most of us do, between these two. It'll be interesting to see if both of these guys can keep things in check and focus on what they can do for their team. We'll see. Glazer is just coming back off of the 8-game suspension. So that's a nice little side story there for the series. But yeah, Prowlers in Indiana meeting once again, and I believe they meet 3 more times after this, 3 or 4. All right. So we have Binghamton Black Bears and the Danbury Hat Tricks. This is a home and home series, one of 2 home and home series this weekend. So Friday night in Danbury at 7:30, Saturday 7 o'clock in Binghamton. Binghamton's won all the previous meetings. Healthy goal margin there, 52-20. They just have Danbury's number. Obviously, first place team, fifth place team, long-standing rivalry, but it's kind of cooled off, this year just because things have been kind of lopsided with the meetings. Some numbers to watch. Binghamton's penalty kill has trended down a little bit over the last few weeks. It was about a month ago, they were above 90%. Now it's down to 87%. So that could be an opportunity for Danbury to get their power play going, because that's only 13.8%, which is down, the lower depths of the league. I think a couple of key players this weekend will be, first for Binghamton, CJ Stubbs. He comes back off suspension. Of course, he's tied for second in the league for scoring. We'll see if he gets the offense going again. And for Danbury, it's Kyle Penton. He has been a godsend for the Hat Tricks this year. Doesn't have the greatest numbers, but as of late, he has been playing very, very well. He just made his 4th appearance of the year on Stars of the Week this last week. So Penton, no, I'm sorry, he just missed out. He was just on the outside looking in, but he almost made it. So 3 times. But yeah, he's been phenomenal for the Hat Tricks. We'll see if he can bar the door. All right, then we have another home and home series, Biloxi and Columbus. 7-0 in the series so far. Yeah, Columbus has Biloxi's number. Biloxi, we know all about their struggles. They've lost 13 in a row right now, and to make matters worse, they've kind of had a mass exodus as of late. Now, I won't say a mass exodus, but there has been a lot of changes personnel-wise, as the old guard moving out, new people coming in. Columbus, their power play is up to 26.2%. That is second best in the league. They have lost their last 2, so they're going to be looking to get back on track. And so I don't think they're going to be taking Biloxi lightly. We have Friday. The game is in Columbus, 7:35. And then things move to Biloxi for Saturday. It's 8:05 Eastern, 7:05 Central, and we'll see what happens. Hugo Coach, he joined Biloxi this last week, played very well. We'll see if he kind of continues to feel rejuvenated in his new surroundings after coming over from Topeka. And Columbus, Tyler Barrow, he had a quiet week last week, and he still had 7 assists. So that's a quiet week for Tyler Barrow. Obviously leading the league in scoring right now with 81 points. Okay, then our last series of the weekend is Baton Rouge traveling to Topeka to play the Scarecrows. Both games at 8:05 Eastern, 7:05 Central. Had to reverse that. They've met 10 times before, and Topeka has won 8 of those. None of these 10 games, though, has seen a team score more than 4 goals. Not in any one game. Yep, the most goals any one team scores, 4 goals. Some of the games have been 2-1, 3-2. So not a lot of offense here. Defense rules in the meeting of these two teams. Both teams have a good defensive style of play. Topeka, I think, pulls it off a little bit better. They've had more results, obviously. So the Zydeco, in spite of their scoring difficulties, of course, they're last in the league in scoring, but their goal differential, it's a -65, which sounds horrible, but when you take into account, well, they've played 40 games, and that's only a difference of 65. That's pretty amazing. Their team defense is very good. Topeka's power play has been declining as of late. Some of their offensive numbers overall have been. But they just got a big addition. Yep. Stephen Klink, moving from the Watertown Wolves, traded to Topeka for Tyler Inlow. And Klink, of course, he's one of the top 10 in scoring this in the league this year. So that brings a lot of much needed offense to Topeka. We'll see if Klink is able to get some magic going this weekend. Jake Cox, one of only 2 players on the Zydeco to have more than 10 goals scored. They just picked up a couple players, though. Ben Stefanini is coming in. So we'll see if that makes a difference on the offense. And so there we go. Final game of the weekend will be Sunday, 4:05. And after playing a pair against Watertown, the Thunderbirds travel to Athens, where Athens is playing their only game of the weekend. And 3 previous meetings between the two teams, Athens have won all 3, outscoring the Thunderbirds 15-4. Athens, if they win, they jump back in the first place because Monroe is idle this week. Right now, the difference is just a couple points. Athens has had some minor struggles as of late. They've lost a couple games in the last 5. So we'll see what happens. For the Thunderbirds, though, this is going to be tough because this is a 3-3, 2 at home and then 1 on the road. Now, thankfully, it's not a far trip to Athens. I believe it's 4.5 hours, but still, that's 4.5 hours. You're sitting on a bus, and then you have to get off the bus and play a game. So that's kind of tough. Athens, very good at home. They're 17-2 at home. Their penalty kill is down a little bit as of late. They've maybe gotten a little loose with their penalty kill, but nonetheless, we'll see how things turn out. Now, I think a big component to this game is going to be the ability of defensivemen to step up into the rush and generate offense from the blue line. So for the Thunderbirds, that means Josh Labelle. For the Thunderbirds, that means Carter Shinkarik. We'll see what kind of participation, what kind of factor they have as these two teams play. And that is our previews for the week. Hello, everyone. Welcome to News and Notes. All right. Of course, you've been here, so some of you have been here, so hello again. Okay. So all the logos that are up here, these are teams that have been involved in recent trades over the last week and a half. Trades are numerous right now, as I shared earlier in this in our video this week. As we move closer and closer to the trade deadline, which again is Monday, March 9th, we're going to see a lot of deals done. Unlike the NHL, we don't see a last-minute flurry of activity like on that day. Typically, teams wrap up everything by Friday or Saturday before the trade deadline. And from that point on, We just see like completion of deals that have been made where future considerations are a part of it. So we'll still see a couple of things, but generally speaking, everything we're going to see wraps up not this upcoming Friday, but the Friday after that, or Friday or Saturday. So just some of the big deals that have come across the wire. We have, let's see, we have Ethan Matcham going to Monroe in exchange for Landon Johnson and Ben Stefanini. They're going to Baton Rouge. We've seen Watertown trade Stephen Klink to Toledo.
What is wrong with you people?
Topeka. And Brendan Colgan has gone to the PD Ice Cats. Watertown is content to finish off the year with a lot of youth infused. They've signed 5 college players, which every team can do. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, let's see. What we have last week, Hugo Koch sent from Topeka to Biloxi in exchange for the rights to Josh Rosenzweig. And there's a multiple reasons that teams are making all of these trades. First of all, I want to say, if you want to say, well, where do I find out about all the trades? Most of them are listed on the Fed transaction page. Go to federalhockey.com, click on stats, and then transactions, and you'll see the list. Most of the transactions are there, most of the trades, but some are not listed. The best bet is whoever your favorite team is, go to their social media pages, their Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram, whatever, and see if they've made an announcement. We've received so-and-so in a trade for whatever. But anyway, the multiple reasons for trades. Some is a last-minute push for the playoffs. Okay, for example, Athens getting Matt Sales from PD. They need someone to back up Carter McPhail. At this point, it looks like William Lavalier is going to be sticking in the SPHL. So you need a reliable backup. They did have Parks Owensby, but he really doesn't have Fed experience, whereas Matt Sales does. Matt Sales also played for a bit in the SPHL. So, it could be improvement. It could be a player's request. Reportedly, Stephen Klink moving out of Watertown, going to Topeka, was at Klink's request. We have other players that they just want to be traded to a competitive organization, or maybe someplace closer to home, something to that effect. And unfortunately, we do still see some transactions where I don't know if maybe the team that had the rights before didn't consult them, but they make the trade, and then the player goes, "I'm not going to report to the team you traded me to. I'm sorry, I'm not." It happens. Okay, it's unfortunate, but it happens for a number of reasons. We can never really know the reason unless the player comes out and says, "Well, I didn't report to so and so because it's too far away from home for me. I have a full-time job or something." But anyway, we have seen quite the increase in the amounts of trades, and we're going to continue to see quite a few over the next 9-10 days, and then they'll quiet down. So it's definitely an interesting time of year. Again, I just wanted to put that graphic up there. Just these teams have all made trades in the last week and a half. That means we have, let's see, Twin City, Binghamton, the Prowlers, and Indiana as teams that have not traded in the last 2 weeks. So the majority of teams have made moves. So there you go. Okay, let's get on to the other news of the last week. Ryan Furr is listed now as the owner of the Indiana Sentinels. Furr has been involved with the organization all year, and he is the creative force toward a lot of the merchandise, a lot of the marketing, heavily involved in corporate sales. So Furr has really had a very active hand in the operation of the Sentinels this year. My understanding is the Campbell brothers are still a part of the ownership group, but as far as physically handling everything, that's Ryan's obligation now, primarily. So he joins the staff, or the in an official capacity as far as ownership. So hopefully good things for Indiana as they prepare to finish out this year and hopefully build towards next season as well. All right. I mentioned the signing of collegiate rookies briefly. So teams are able to do that now if a player has ended his playing career at whatever college he is attending, and wants to play pro. They can sign contracts now. Now, the nice things about this is, first of all, it gives teams a good, solid first look at a player. We're gonna get this guy into a few games. Let's see how he does. Does he acclimate well to the pro level? If so, let's sign him for next year. It works out very well for a lot of collegiate and junior players. If a player has been playing juniors as well, and the season is now ended, a lot of tier 2 teams have ended their seasons, so juniors could sign on as well. You can sign up to 5. Five's the max, but you can have 5 players. And the nice thing is this does not count against your roster limitation of 20 plus the optional goalie. All right, so 20 plus the 1. That's your limit, with the exception of these rookie Cs. So technically, you could have 26 players on your roster, 5 of them being collegians or juniors, and you're fine. And this is good for teams as well, because if you have a player that's battling some injuries, you can give that player a rest. You can make them a healthy scratch and put in a collegian instead. And some of these guys that come in, your first thought is probably, well, they're going from college to pro. How good can they be? Some of them are really good right from the get-go. One name that really sticks in my mind is Trevor Graspy, who plays with the Scarecrows. A couple seasons ago, the Wolves signed him as a collegiate rookie, and he had an immediate impact on the Wolves offense. And of course, he played the majority of he was with the team all last year, had 67 assists in a single year. And then this year, he split the year between Watertown and Topeka. So yeah, some good players come out of the college ranks. Most of these players are Division III. Some come from Canadian schools. Some come from ACHA, which ACHA is typically lower than Division III, but there are some really good ACHA programs out there, like Adrian College. They produce a lot of good players, and a lot of players who end up being very good pros. They've played at levels as high as the ECHL. So, so this is a really good time for teams. They can build up their lineup, not have to worry about juggling positions because they're out of roster space. And again, it gives these kids a good opportunity to get acclimated, get their feet wet, and show the team that signs them what they can do. So it's very good for the game. One of my favorite times of the year is right now when you start seeing these college players come in. Watertown has already signed 5. So they're very enthusiastic about the players they've signed and recruited. Binghamton signed one. I believe Monroe has signed one. Maybe another team or two as well. So keep watch on that. And when you see rookie C, or it might not say it in the transactions until you click on the name, and then you go to their name and you click on the bio for that player, and you'll see listed experience rookie C, or rookie J if they come out of juniors. So it's going to be an exciting few weeks. All right, regarding signings, I'm not sure. So a question popped in my mind, and nobody asked this. It just stuck in my mind. Watertown now has 2 goalies that are rookie Cs. Plus, they have Matt Lenz. Plus, they just traded for Ricardo Gonzalez. So technically, they have 4 goaltenders. Do they have to move somebody out? I don't know. With the collegiate guidelines, I don't know. They might be able to carry 4 goaltenders. It might be a little loophole that some teams could explore. I'm not sure on that. So if I find out, I'll let you know. All right. That is really about it for news and notes. We got a lot of things going on, but again, kind of as I alluded to in the flash chat segment, there's not really a whole lot that has gotten nailed down. And I can't say, here's what's happening or here's what's happened. Things are still very fluid in a lot of different areas. So we'll continue to keep you abreast. Always tune in, especially to this segment. I'm sure that this is the most watched segment of the Fed Flash Face-Off videos. And anyway, there you go. Okay, one more thing before we end this video. So to close out this video, we're going to take a quick look at the standings and really focus on a couple of special numbers here. So I've only included the top 5 teams in each division, the Continental here, the Empire down here, and that is because the remaining 2 teams really aren't in the running at this point. In the Continental, you have Biloxi and Baton Rouge. Biloxi's elimination number is 13. Any combination of 13 points lost by Biloxi or gained by PD eliminates Biloxi. So they're pretty much out of it, unfortunately. As far as the Empire Division goes, you have Watertown, who's sold off a lot of their assets, unfortunately, out of necessity. It's kind of a sad situation, but nonetheless, them in Indiana just don't seem to really be in the running for the playoffs. So we've limited it to the 5 per division. The blue line is the playoff line. Remember, only 4 teams get in, so the 5th team right now is on the outside looking in. Some numbers in red here. Everybody's played different amounts of games. The less games you have right now, the better your chances at getting more points, advancing, climbing up the standings. So right now, Monroe has a 2-point advantage on Athens. However, Athens has 1 game less played. Now, if they win that game in regulation time, that's 3 points. That would give them 90 points. Monroe is idle this week. Athens plays the 1 game. So we'll see what they do with that 1 game. They'll be playing Twin City, who right now, they're battling for that final playoff spot with the PD Ice Cats. Magic numbers. For the Monroe Moccasins to clinch a playoff spot, it's 15 points. And for Athens, it's 17. So it's starting to get down. If you win those games in regulation, that's basically five wins there, 6 wins for Athens, and then they're in. And we have 16 games remaining and 17 games remaining. So I think the odds are pretty good that those two teams will be in there, as well as Columbus. Columbus is 10 points behind Monroe right now, but they've also played the most games of anybody in the Continental Division. So that I won't say it hurts them, but it limits their reach or their possibility. Now, I've written down the points percentage because in the event, as unlikely as it could be, you still have to leave room for the possibility in the event that there is some game that's postponed or canceled and can't be made up. Points percentage could play a part in determining a playoff spot. It goes by points first, but then if you're tied in points, well, then you would go to the points percentage. So that's worthy of note there. PD and Twin City, again, just 4 points apart from each other. And Twin City does play 3 games. They have 1 game in hand on PD, so that's a good thing for them. We'll see if they're able to capitalize on that opportunity this weekend. Switching quickly to the Empire Division, Binghamton got next because they've clinched their playoff spot. Their magic number to clinch the division and clinch that top spot is 18, or 6 regulation wins. Obviously, they're flying right along there. Now, we have a real interesting development with these 3 teams, Port Huron, Blue Ridge, and Topeka, all within 7 points of each other. Now, if you play 3 games in 3 nights, well, you could make that up in 1 weekend. So, that's a very interesting race right now. Port Huron has played the fewest amount of games, so they have a little bit of an advantage there. Just 39 games played compared to the Bobcats' 41 and Topeka's 40. So they're in good shape to be able to hold on to that second place spot, but you got to win the games. Port Huron's magic number to clinch a playoff spot is 24, and that's that high compared to these guys because you have a better number here. So better number in the 5th place spot as well. So and also you have, if you want to look at the 5th place teams, Twin City, 38 games played. Hat-tricks have played 42, which is tied for the most in the league, along with Binghamton and Columbus right now. So that's the way the playoffs are shaking up. The hat-tricks are 12 points behind, so it's not an insurmountable advantage or an insurmountable mountain to climb, but you're running out of games. You got 14 games left. You got to make up 12 points in 14 games. So that means you need some help. You need some losses up here, and you need some wins down here. So that is our compressed look at the standings. I just kind of wanted to go over that with you. It's very interesting. We're getting down to crunch time now. We are in the final quarter of the season, getting ready for the postseason. So that concludes our show for today. I want to thank you very much for watching. Again, whether you watched just a segment or the whole thing, I deeply appreciate it. Always remember, if you just, anytime you're watching my videos in the future with the Fed Flash Face-Off, just go down below where it says more, click on more, and then it'll bring up all the timestamps for the different segments. If you want to go right to news and notes or right to Flash Chat, just click on that timestamp and go right there. I understand not everybody has an hour 15, an hour 20 to sit around watching a video. So if you watch part of it, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so that's going to conclude our show for this week. Remember, we'll have another Fed Flash Face-Off next Thursday. Stay tuned for that. Upcoming this weekend, we'll be recapping the game. The game's on on YouTube. Make sure, please, if you haven't already, please subscribe, like, share. I deeply appreciate it. And most of all, make sure you're following me on Facebook, because as news happens, as things come across the line, I post it there, and then we expound upon it a little bit more in detail here on YouTube. All right, so that concludes our show. I am Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. Until next time, again, thank you for joining me. Be excellent to each other and have a wonderful week ahead.